Well, friends, we knew that this was coming simply because A, Blend Bunny had changed their logo, so you know that that means that something is afoot. But also, there have been rumours that Ellis Atlantis was going to do a second collab, and it has finally been revealed. So that's right, we can finally breathe easy, relax, no more sleepless nights wondering what it is that this collab has in store. And I have to say, I personally really appreciate the fact that this is not 5,000,001 things. Yes, we're looking at 4 palettes. However, do you see that big palette there? That is actually the 2 smaller palettes combined. So that is, if you wanted those 2 smaller palettes, you're actually better off getting the big palette. It is exactly what I thought, which was a separate matte palette and then a shimmery palette. So really, really great for people who are interested in more toppers. So that's that one. And people who are more into their rounded look. This is very, very different to their first collab, which was extremely bright, extremely colourful. This is kind of missing from Blend Bunny's aesthetic so far. So I actually think that this was quite well done. Let's jump into it and talk about the rest of this. This is going to be launching on August 1st at 10 a.m. PST, so make sure that you set your alarms if you're interested. I'm not sure if this is going to come to Glisten Cosmetics, but if it does, you can use my code Teresa or my friend Daniela's code Cosmic Peaches for some money off. Because let's be real, we never want to pay full price. Here's what I really enjoy. Every item is fully magnetic. So that means that you can take some shades from your volume 1 and put it into your volume 2 or vice versa, whatever it is that you want. That way you can curate things whatever way you want. And look at this sexy palette. This is the eye and face palette. It's retailing for $42. And as I said, it's basically the 2 smaller 15 pans combined into this. So if you liked the two, you're better off getting this one. They say that this palette redefines what a neutral eyeshadow can be. Personally, I love that because I actually think you can make a neutral palette and make it really interesting. And this is done quite nicely. They say exploring subtle shifts in hue and undertone to create the fantasy you desire, from cool toned 90s moments to romantic rose tinted tones. This palette offers possibilities you never even knew you craved. And can I just say, I feel like $42, pretty darn good. It comes with a mirror. It's adorable. And also, can we just take a moment to look at Ellis here? My goodness, that is breathtakingly, annoyingly beautiful. And I realise that I'm sitting here with greasy hair and yeah, that's just my life. But as I said, they actually have the two 15-pan palettes so that it's divided. And I think that's so, so clever. It feels like they've really listened to people because some people get a bit overwhelmed with the bigger palettes. They'd like the smaller things. So the more warm-toned one is called Origin, and that's $21. And they're both $21. So obviously the bigger palette is $42. You're not going to make any saving by getting the bigger one, but maybe you might just like to kind of shove it all together. I won't judge you. And then the more cool toned one is called Imperial. That is again $21. I personally really like this one, but that's probably because I have a little bit of a thing for cool toned palettes. It might be an issue, I don't really know. And yes, there is also an all shimmer palette. It's the one that you're seeing down there at the bottom right hand corner. It's called the Garden of Stars Eye and Face Palette, and that's retailing for $48. So again, they're being very mindful that not everyone necessarily wants shimmers. They've separated that out, which I think is so, so smart. I mean, that is looking really pretty. It's an 18 shade constellation of ethereal tones. This palette extends the creative universe of volumes 1 and 2. I personally really like that. Again, they're not like repeating stuff from before. This is meant to be used as a sister palette, and I really like that. It should be used to augment the stuff that you have, and it is very, very different to anything that they've done before. They say that it's designed for the eyes, but never bound by that limit. These shades transform when brushed across cheeks or tapped onto lips, weaving starlight into every look. And as I said, it's $48. However, the best way of looking at these things is to actually see swatches. And I love these dynamic swatches where you can actually see them in movement. And they are looking sexy. Sign me up. They haven't said yet as to whether or not there's going to be any sort of a bundle deal. Like, I don't know, if you wanted to get like, say, the shimmery palette and one of the like 15-pan palettes, or the shimmery palette and the 30-pan palette. I hope they do. I think that would be really, really smart. But if they don't, I feel like it's not like a major issue, because when you think about it, right, here's the math. If you wanted the big 30-pan palette plus The 18 pan palette, that's $90. That's not bad. Like, when you think about the fact that collaborations always tend to be a little bit more expensive because they're having to pay for IP, blah, 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 and you want to make sure that the creator is getting something out of it. That's very important. I actually don't think that's bad. Can I also say the very fact that Ellis has come back for a second collaboration hints at something much more important, which is that Blend Bunny treats their content creators very, very well. And for me, I think that's really, really important. If you only see a content creator collabing with a brand once, it does leave a little bit of suspicion as to how they've been treated. But the fact that Ellis came back pretty soon after, it shows that this was a very, very positive working relationship. I love the fact that this is so different from the first one. This very much fills a gap for Blend Bunny. We don't really have that many neutral ones from them before. The Dollhouse is a little bit neutral, but this, I mean, the fact that they have the all matte there for anyone who wants an all matte, I think it's really, really clever. Anyways, as I said, it's coming out very soon, so mark your calendars. You know, I'd say it's going to do pretty well, but let me know what you guys think. Are you into this or not?